They say cats have 9 lives and that black cats are bad luck. Well, what about a Blackcat ransomware group that just came back with a vengeance and is looking to retaliate against the FBI and the governments that took them down to begin with? In a recent escapade by Blackcat or ALPHV, they are now targeting healthcare and health insurance, specifically the Optum group, which is a subsidiary of UnitedHealth Group. There's been pandemonium and chaos, so let's jump into it. Today we are facing an unprecedented array of data breaches, hacking attempts, and surges in digital crime. Why is there such a widespread amount, and how little is noticed in our everyday lives? Malware, dark sites, brute forcing, zero-day script kiddies, and nation-state hackers are all on the rise. Learn more about the threats we face and gain a bit more knowledge than yesterday. Hey everyone, another episode of Exploit Brokers is coming to you now. So guys, welcome back to another episode. Please do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe and bell notification icon if you're on YouTube. If you are listening on a podcast platform, please hit subscribe or follow and give us a rating to help us expand the show to as many people as possible and help get the message and the information to as many people as we can reach. With that said, let's dive into this episode. In an article by Reuters, U.S. pharmacy outage triggered by Blackcat ransomware at UnitedHealth unit, sources say. Washington, February 26th by Reuters. Hackers working for the Blackcat ransomware gang are behind the outage at UnitedHealth's technology unit that has snarled prescription deliveries for 6 days. I believe it's called Optum. 2 people familiar with the matter told Reuters on Monday. The problems began last week after hackers gained access to Change's healthcare information technology system and has led disruptions at pharmacies across the United States. Change Healthcare and UnitedHealth did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Blackcat, also known as ALPHV, did not immediately respond when asked whether it was responsible. So, Blackcat or ALPHV is a ransomware group. And we're going to talk about right now, there's kind of 3 articles I'm going to use to touch on this. There was talks about this attack being related to a nation state group. Blackcat, as we know currently, is not a nation state threat actor. They are a cybercrime gang, which is pretty much just money driven as far as we know, as far as what we've been able to profile them as. So let's continue. Alphabet cybersecurity unit Mandiant is handling the investigation into the breach, the 2 people said. In a statement, Mandiant confirmed it had been engaged in support of the incident responses but declined to comment further. So, Google's cybersecurity unit is currently looking at it, which is always kind of assuring, right? Google has some pretty competent developers and cybersecurity people. So Blackcat is one of the most notorious of the internet's many ransomware gangs. And with the recent takedown, if you haven't seen that video, go check out my channel. With the recent takedown of Lockbit, which, time will tell if they're fully down or not, Blackcat is one of the bigger ransomware groups now. The biggest was Lockbit, but with them out of the running for the moment, well, this kind of leaves Blackcat up there. Groups of cybercriminals who encrypt data to hold it hostage with the aim of securing massive payouts. It has previously struck major businesses including MGM Resorts International and Caesars Entertainment. Another episode that we've actually covered. You should go check out our previous episodes if you're interested in what we covered on that. But yes, MGM Resorts and Caesars were previously hit by Blackcat ALPHV, and that was actually one of the first times we've talked about them on the channel. So in December, Blackcat was the subject of a takedown by US-led international law enforcement, which seized several websites used by the group as well as hundreds of digital keys used to decrypt victims' data. Right? Whenever you get on the radar of several law enforcement agencies, they tend to pretty much do a takedown and grab all your servers and infrastructure and keys, which is what we just saw with Lockbit as well. So the hackers had threatened to retaliate by extorting critical infrastructure providers and hospitals, which is what they're doing. CISA, the US cybersecurity watchdog agency, and the FBI did not immediately respond to emails seeking comment. One expert said the news suggested the digital disruptions, while important, could not be counted on to knock ransomware groups out for good. Yeah, you take down the infrastructure, you take down some of the key players. If there's backup players, if there's more people, or if even one of the major players is not taken down, they might come back with a vengeance, right? They can train up other people or people who can copycat their way to where the group was before. Now, it's inevitable that if you have a group that's making millions of bucks, they're going to attempt to make a comeback, said Brett Callow, a threat analyst at the cybersecurity firm Emasoft. The allegations that Blackcat was behind the hack at Change Healthcare also raise questions about parent company UnitedHealth's previous claim that it had been targeted by a suspected nation-state associated cybersecurity threat actor. So, in another article that I'll bring up momentarily, they did make a filing to the Security and Exchanges Commission, the SEC, that they believe that the hack was conducted by a nation-state advanced persistent threat, or an apt actor. I am not aware of any links between ALPHV and a nation-state, Callow said. As far as I'm aware, they are financially motivated cybercriminals and nothing more. Reuters has not been able to gauge the full extent of the disruption. Now, a number of pharmacy chains, including CVS Health and Walgreens, have said the outages have had knock-on effects of their businesses. Right? This is what we're going to pretty much see a fallout of this in the coming days. The American Pharmacists Association said on Friday many pharmacists across the nation could not transmit insurance claims for their patients following the hack. It said pharmacies were reporting significant backlogs of prescriptions. So when you have the major infrastructure of something like prescriptions, which deals with a large amount of data, a large amount of product, and a large amount of things, even if they're able to get stuff back online, there's still a backlog, right? You still have a bunch of orders that need to get filled, a bunch of orders that need to get transmitted so that way they can be approved by the insurance. Because for those of you who aren't familiar, or for those of you who are familiar, the insurance aspect of American healthcare is complicated in the simplest way to say it. And what happens is that if you don't have insurance, or if the insurance doesn't pay, some of these prescriptions can run hundreds of dollars, sometimes even into like $1,000, $2,000. And that's kind of changed. And, you know, with inflation being what it is, that's not going to be coming down or getting easier anytime soon. I can imagine that after several days of the system being down, they're going to have a pretty massive backlog of processing to do, which will then give a bunch of pharmacies a big backlog of stuff they need to process and ship out or prepare for clients. If clients didn't just, you know, take the hit and get paid for the medication off the bat, which I believe some insurance agencies do allow you to pay and then get reimbursed. I'm not super big on insurance, but, you know, that is maybe a pathway that can be used later. I don't know the extent of this just yet. So, to touch on the next article that's related to this, by Cyberscoop, notorious ransomware group claims responsibility for attacks roiling US pharmacies. The group, known as ALPHV, said it was behind an attack that has disrupted a service used by healthcare providers to process payments. Again, it's a major infrastructure that they have, a technology unit for UnitedHealth Group that essentially was what they use for pharmacies and insurance claims against prescriptions, from what I can tell, from what I'm seeing. A notorious ransomware and extortion group tied to dozens of cyber attacks against healthcare entities claimed responsibility Wednesday for an ongoing attack that disrupted payment processing at pharmacies and other care-related entities across the country. ALPHV, also known as Blackcat, first claimed responsibility to databreaches.net on Tuesday for the attack on Change Healthcare, a subsidiary to UnitedHealth Group. On Wednesday, ALPHV, perhaps best known for its role in last year's breach of Las Vegas casinos, again MGM and Caesar, check out my other episode on that, posted a statement to its website that accuses UnitedHealth Group of lying about the group behind the attack and the scope of the affected parties. So in here, what this article actually brought, and I am looking for it now, was the fact that there was actually a significant amount of data that was also stolen in addition to the hack, in addition to pretty much all the ransomware-ness that occurred, where they were able to encrypt stuff and pretty much knock the system offline. There you go. So, according to the article, ALPHV was able to exfiltrate more than 6 terabytes of highly selective data, the group claimed. The data relates to all Change Health clients that have sensitive data being processed by the company. And I mean, that's not good, right? When you have 6 terabytes of data, you can only imagine what they've taken. And this continues. In an article by BleepingComputer, ransomware gang claims they stole 6 terabytes of Change Healthcare data. the Blackcat ALPHV ransomware group or gang has officially claimed responsibility for a cyber attack on Optum, a subsidiary of UnitedHealth Group, which led to an ongoing outage affecting the Change Healthcare platform. Change Healthcare is the largest payment exchange platform used by more than 70,000 pharmacies across the United States. UHG is the world's largest healthcare company by revenue, employing 440,000 people worldwide and working with over 1.6 million physicians and care professionals in 8,000 hospitals and other care facilities. In a statement published on their dark web leaks site today, Blackcat said they allegedly stole 6 terabytes of data from Change Healthcare network belonging to thousands of healthcare providers, insurance providers, pharmacies, etc. Being inside a production network, one can imagine the amount of critical and sensitive data that can be found. The data relates to all Change Health clients that have sensitive data being processed by the company. So, the article even goes on, right? This is already bad news. Again, 6 terabytes, and the fact they have that many employees, that many entities, physicians, hospitals, and care facilities, what kind of information does it have on them? It might have providers, data information about them, claims, client claims, all that information, because you got to think about what is needed for a claim to occur, right? You have the person who's submitting the claim or the insured and their information, then the information about the person who is providing care for them or providing them with a product or service, the pharmacy or the physician, they have their information on there as well, so that way it can be linked up. Not to mention any peripheral things about company entities and stuff like that. So, the ransomware gang claims that they stole source code for Change Healthcare solution and sensitive information belonging to many partners, including the U.S. military's TRICARE healthcare program, the Medicare Federal Health Insurance Program, CVS Caremark, MetLife, HealthNet, and tens of other healthcare insurance providers. Per Blackcat's claims, the sensitive data stolen from the Change Healthcare contains a wide range of information on millions of people, including their medical records, insurance records, dental records, payment information, claims information, patients' PII data, or personally identifiable information, such as phone numbers, addresses, social security numbers, email addresses, and more, active U.S. military and Navy personnel PII data. And I mean, if they really did take this information, this is huge, right? Whenever there is leaks on the dark web or just paste bins and stuff like that for people's address and phone number, it is scams galore, right? And you now have a bit more credibility to whenever you're making a scam email or a scam text. Could you imagine you're getting something from something in your medical record claiming to be a physician or provider that you may have recently visited? The amount of credibility that's going to lend to scam and spam kind of attacks is going to go through the roof if they release this information, which at the end of the day, if I'm being honest, it might be better to just let this just fall. It is not good to negotiate with these groups, because the more you negotiate with these groups, the more you do stuff with them, the more they're going to see other ransomware groups, or even this group themselves, will see them as a target. They know they will pay. So what's to stop them from coming back a second time or a third time? The fact they got infected this time means that they were already somewhat vulnerable in some way. And if they don't have any kind of backups or anything, which, you know, if you've been around with a couple of my episodes, you know, backups. If you can't recover this without paying, which paying never guarantees that you'll get your stuff decrypted or that they'll play fair. It's in their best interest to pay fair, but again, they're cybercriminals for a reason. If they were to release this information, it'd be pandemonium on the clients, right? You're also including military and Navy personnel. I can't imagine the kind of phishing attacks or the kind of stuff that if they got a Navy or military officer or one of those to click, you know, that's just getting access to even more elevated systems through scam and phishing and other kind of attacks. So, on a dedicated status page, Optum warned hours before the article was published that they're still working on restoring impacted systems to bring them back online, adding that Optum, UnitedHealth Care, and UnitedHealth Group systems have not been affected. While UnitedHealth Group VP Tyler Mason did not confirm that Blackcat was behind the incident, Mason told BleepingComputer earlier this week that 90% of the affected 70,000 plus pharmacies have switched to a new electronic claim procedure to address Change Healthcare issues. Today, Blackcat also denied that affiliates who breached Change Healthcare Network used the Critical Screen Connect Auth Bypass flaw, CV 2024-1709, as BleepingComputer was told early this week by sources familiar with the investigation. On Tuesday, the FBI, CISA, and the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, warned that Blackcat ransomware affiliates primarily target organizations in the U.S. healthcare sector. Since mid-December 2023, of the nearly 70 leaked victims, the healthcare sector has been the most commonly victimized, the three federal agencies said. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of sensitive information, and there is a lot of outdated tech in the medical world. By just virtue of what it is, right? I've heard and I've read on Reddit and other stories where you have these hospitals or whatever, and they're running stuff from like 15, 20 years, 30 years ago. Some equipment is running an outdated version of even Windows XP, right? There's still a lot of things running Windows XP. I know, 2024, and you still have entities running Windows XP of all things. So it is likely in the response to the ALPHV Blackcat administrator's post encouraging its affiliates to target hospitals after operational action against the group and its infrastructure in early 2023. So in 2023 December, they were taken down or attempted to be taken down by a lot of legal authorities or law enforcement agencies, and the group did not like that. Obviously, right? They disrupted their stuff. They've set them back, cost them money, cost them time, and just like any organization, they don't like to lose money. Granted, cybercriminal organization, but an organization nonetheless. And going forward, the FBI previously linked Blackcat to over 60 breaches during its first 4 months of activity between November 2021 and March 2022, and said the gang raked in at least $300 million in ransoms from over 1,000 victims until September 2023. The U.S. Department now offers up to $50 million for tips that help identify or locate Blackcat gang leaders and individuals linked to the group's ransomware attacks. So, all this to say, and these 3 articles to say, you have one of the biggest healthcare insurance providers and payment processors that got hit by a cyber attack on a pretty big scale, if you ask me. They're backed up by several days, and even if they were to get up and running soon, there's still a backlog of stuff to process. People have been inconvenienced, and I can't even fathom that if people weren't able to get their medications, how many people just shelled out the money because they need the medication. Whether the insurance can or cannot, wants to or does not want to pay, these people need it, right? It's not like, oh, well, hey, my favorite brand of soda is not available. Let me go get the store generic brand. Even generic medicines can run really high prices. And right now, with the amount of people who are suffering financially from either inflation, job loss, or just general cost of living, to add a $400, $500, $600 medicine that should be $10, $20, $30 is a pretty significant amount that most people may not have. Most Americans don't have an emergency fund, and they can't afford several $100 expenses. And that was just to randomly come up, right? So my heart goes out to anyone who's been affected by this. I really hope this gets resolved quickly and expediently. I hope UnitedHealth Group does not pay the ransom, because if there's no money in this, then cyber criminals have no incentive to keep trying to do these kind of attacks. Granted, at this point, they're partially doing it out of retaliation, right? They're not happy they got taken down, but there's still a financial aspect of this. They can still make money off this, but now there's 2 main reasons that they're motivated to push these kind of attacks versus before it was mainly a financial reason. So I hope this gets better. I hope it gets resolved. I hope UnitedHealth Group had backups and that they can resolve this quickly. I mean, based off the BleepingComputer, they're already moving some people over to a new payment system. So that's some glimmer of hope, right? But guys, this has been another episode of Exploit Brokers. Thank you for tuning in. If you have not, please hit the subscribe, the like button, and hit the bell notification if you're on YouTube. If you're on a podcast, please hit subscribe or follow and give us a rating. This has been Lauda with Exploit Brokers, and I will see you in the next one.